Hi, I'm Dave Jones, co-founder and managing partner at Altus Alliance, specializing in revenue growth services. We're excited to be here tonight for the CEO dinner focusing on acceleration of revenues with Steve Goldman and Ryan Kelly. Very pleased to be here with our guests, Ryan Kelly and Steve Goldman, for a discussion tonight about the acceleration of revenues. Steve, let me ask you, as CEO, what are the elements of sales that you feel are the most important to pay closest attention to without being overbearing or micromanaging?
I think that's an important thing to avoid. I think really the role of the CEO is to focus on the strategy, and that's what he or she should really do with their team. Once you've got buy-in on the strategy, then I think it's critical that everyone that's doing all the work has the right resources, and you make sure that's in place. And then I think you need process around all of the numbers for the sales funnel and the pipeline, and really measuring the KPIs of the business. And if those processes are in place, then the CEO should be pretty comfortable and not feel like they have to run around and micromanage things.
Ryan, what are the benefits and risks of inside sales, and why is it so important to a comprehensive sales strategy?
The benefits are certainly the first ones are, I think, articulate. It helps make a sales force more nimble. I mean, if you just have field sales, there are many benefits of that, of course, especially if what you're selling is a very large dollar item. But the challenges of field sales only is a person can only get to so many places at once, and it can add up real quickly if they're having to do a lot of travel across the country or across the globe. Inside sales helps you be more nimble, right? If you have however many people, but in the same place where you are, and you can kind of watch them and help develop them, figure out how to sell the product, how to be nimble, how to maybe try some different messaging, get to different markets. Try is a lot of what inside sales helps you do at the very beginning. But then once you got that figured out, it can help you be more predictable going forward, right? Once you have that motion figured out, then you can add people in and just repeat it across the country. But now, wisely, you also asked about risks. This one really comes down to how bought in is the sales leader. Whoever the chief revenue officer is, they've got to be fully bought into inside sales. I've seen different sides of this. Sometimes I've worked with sales leaders who were, sometimes I've worked with sales leaders who weren't. And that's what it comes down to. If the head of sales is not bought in, it can fall apart.
Forrester statistics show that it takes 28% more in sales and marketing expense in order to generate the same revenues as it did 8 years ago. So assuming that that's true, how do you recommend accelerating sales while at the same time containing or reducing cost of sales?
Marketing has changed as much as any discipline over the last decade, that's tied to revenue production. Whether it's, your social programs, whether it's inside sales, whether it's other internet-related things, so that, if you have field sales in your model, if it's not SaaS or something like that, your most expensive assets can really be spending their time wisely. And I think that's the key thing.
I think one of the keys here is having a variety of roles. And the traditional sales force was a field sales rep, and they pretty much did everything. Prospected, traveled, did discovery meetings, went to events, the whole spectrum. Increasingly what you're seeing, and what I've seen be successful, is a mix of roles. You have dedicated prospecting, you have dedicated inside sales to handle smaller transactional deals, and then you have dedicated field to handle the larger, more complex, or maybe enterprise-wide deals. And if you have that specialization, then as the leader, whether it's the chief revenue officer, CEO, you've got more levers to pull. If we need more pipeline in this area, I'll add more prospecting reps. If we need more attention on these kinds of deals, you can choose whether to add an inside rep or field rep as appropriate. I think that's what can help you manage the cost while it's getting harder to generate that dollar of revenue.
On average in the US right now, quota attainment is at 53%, according to CSO Insights. And this is the 5th straight year of decline in that. So to create a culture of success and build a highly motivated sales force, what percentage of the sales team do you think should make quota?
I think that the sweet spot is somewhere between 50 and 75%. Maybe 2/3 is, nominally perfect. I think the danger, if you have less than half of your team making the numbers, then you wind up with a lot of folks that are demoralized and feel that things aren't attainable. They give up. That percolates and spreads and creates a really negative situation. Over 75%, you probably feel like you left money on the table and you made things too easy, and everyone's getting paid a lot, but it's not really driving the top line growth you want for your business.
Conventional wisdom says that compensation and incentive programs are one of the most important tools that a CEO can have to motivate sales and sales behavior. But Harvard Business Review just published in their most recent magazine an article called "Why Incentive Plans Cannot Work." So what does your experience tell you about the benefits of a good incentive plan?
I'm a big believer in creating the right culture, and that's how you build really great companies of lasting value. And I think that you need to create an environment where intrinsically people like being there, and they don't need all the extra incentives to perform. I used to call it the Sunday night test. Are you sitting there just dreading the fact you got to go to work on Monday morning, or are you already starting to kind of think through things in your head that you got to get done to really get a running start? There's a lot of misconceptions about salespeople being coin operated, and that all you need is a good comp plan. I think that is kind of the bookend to the right culture, and one without the other, will not work.
I do think it's a motivator, but it needs to be combined with a culture, as Steve mentioned, that is, I'll say, supportive and motivating to people, because salespeople don't hit their number every quarter. And if it's all about the comp plan and all about the sales plan, and I don't hit a number, and now I feel like they're just going to toss me out, people will leave.
DocuSign went public with kind of a barn buster IPO at $5.7 billion. What role did sales and inside sales in particular play in getting you to the spot where you could have such a successful IPO?
I think in DocuSign's case, a lot of it was establishing a range of roles. And this ranges from AE, who is very much a traveling, field-facing AE, to an inside sales rep in some parts of the business, to a couple different types of prospecting reps, to sales engineers. I mean, the full basket of roles that are available. It's allowed the senior people in the company to be able to pull levers when they need to, right? If we're having an adoption challenge, let's add more of this resource. If we need more upsell, add more of that resource. If we need more net new pipeline, add more of that resource. That has enabled us to try things, and in some cases it worked, and keep going and invest there. And sometimes we try things and it didn't, so we could quickly shift and move around. That's what I think has helped the company be nimble.
Thank you guys very much for joining us tonight. It's wonderful having distinguished individuals with the kind of credentials that both of you have and able to share your wisdom with the rest of the group.